How you doing, Chris?
Hey Richard, I'm doing well. How about you?
I'm getting along.
Nice. Right. I'm gonna hang out here for just like a minute or two and see if we get anybody else join in. All right, guys. I don't want to keep you waiting too long. If anybody else jumps in here, we'll let them in. So my name is Chris. I'm with ScribeWare. For those of you who don't know me, I think I've only see one name here that I'm familiar with. So I former home inspector here, and also used to run a multi-inspector firm in Ohio. So we transported 15 inspectors from Home Inspector Pro to ScribeWare about 2.5 years ago. So anyway, long story short, I ended up joining the ScribeWare here at the beginning of the year and helping them out, getting folks onboarded, getting templates set up, and things like that. So we just kind of want to go around the room and introduce yourself and let us know where you're from and kind of where you're at with ScribeWare, so we just have a rough idea of
Still
you
can't
know.
hear anything.
Nope, I can hear you, Jeffrey. You can't hear me. Richard, can you hear me? Okay.
Yep.
Yep.
I can hear
Okay. Awesome. Yeah, there's two Richards. I should have specified.
you. In
Uh,
Florida.
on. All right. Well, Richard Chardon, let's start with you, I guess. So tell us who you are, where you're from, and where are you with ScribeWare?
I am from Florida. I'm a GC here, and I just started using, I've had my license since 2011, and just decided to maybe stop doing the GC stuff and give inspecting a chance. So
Okay. Right on. Are you currently using a home inspection software, or is this all going to be brand new?
it's all brand new. I checked out Spectora and I checked out, I forget what the other one is. But then I went to a meeting and met, was it Mike? Yeah, Mike.
Okay. Yeah,
And
Mike Parrish probably.
decided to try ScribeWare. So I like it so far. Did
Okay.
my
Awesome.
first inspection with it, and it kind of took me forever, but just because I'm not used to it, I know. So I'll get
Okay.
it.
Perfect. Right on. And then let's go to how about David Williamson? Are you on with us, bud?
Yeah, I'm not going to do a video because I'm not
That's
I'm just
okay.
not going to do it. But I'll
Yeah,
do sound.
where are you
Yeah,
from, David, and where are you at with
I'm
ScribeWare?
near I'm northeast Ocala in the center of the state. I've been
Okay.
on ScribeWare for about a month now. I've done a handful of reports on there. I was
Okay.
previously with HIP, went through the whole thing with watching what was happening with Spectora, Porch bought HIP, so I know what's coming. So
Yep,
that's why I
I did
won't
too.
chill. And I've been having a handful of problems getting things resolved on here, so I'm hoping that I can pick up some pointers.
Okay.
Overall, it's saving me a crap ton of time, but it is taking more time.
Okay.
Every time they do an update, I have problems, and I don't know why. I'm confident it's loose nut at the end of the handle here on my end, but I figure
Okay.
if you got pointers for me, I'll listen to whatever you have to say.
Yeah, absolutely. And I'm gonna throw in like the last, 15 or 10 or 15 minutes, and we'll do some like Q&A. So if there's something that we didn't cover, you guys can ask some questions.
Sweet. Perfect.
All right. Let's go to Jonathan Duty.
Yeah, hey there. Sorry.
Oh, you're fine, buddy.
Yeah, I'm doing this primarily out of research for my brother who actually does the inspections in Florida.
Okay.
He is also a GC, but he um has had two businesses for a while. Also works in the consulting world, primarily doing post-storm damage inspection kind of work,
Ah,
water intrusion and remediation type work.
perfect. Yeah. Well, ScribeWare can kind of, we could tailor some templates to do all those things. So that'd be pretty cool. Right on. Let's see. Who else did we get here? Got David. How about Paul? You with us, Paul?
Yeah, I'm here. Can you hear me?
Awesome. Yeah. Tell us where you're from and where you're at with ScribeWare.
I'm I'm up in Michigan, and switched over to ScribeWare from Horizon.
Okay.
I was just having too many issues. I don't know if they're. It seemed like to me they're going to be non-existent pretty soon. So
Yeah, it's kind of what
uh,
I'm hearing a little bit of that kind of thing percolating anyway. It was a great software at one point in time. Yeah.
yeah. So I did 2 weeks ago. I did an inspection with your ScribeWare software. Used
Okay.
Donnie's template. So I've been bouncing back and forth between Dylan's and Donnie's template
Okay.
and
Right
stuff.
on.
It just seems like, to get things dialed in, there's a pretty big learning curve, almost like software engineer learning curve. It's like,
Yeah, it is
okay, I wish it wasn't.
it's so powerful, but it is a little bit of a learning curve to figure out how to make it, manipulate it, and make it dance. Yeah.
Yeah,
So,
yeah.
but yeah,
So,
we can help you with that.
all right.
So, awesome. Well, let's jump down to Jeffrey.
Good afternoon to here. I'm in Palm Bay, Florida,
Okay.
and I've had ScribeWare for a couple months, and I've been manipulating it to try to resemble what I had before, which is Porter Valley. So I'm kind of going back to trying to get ScribeWare to operate as a photo array inspection instead of just inspection, and then you can add the pictures so that they could click on and then be moved. So I didn't like how in ScribeWare from Dylan's that you could do the inspection and then the pictures would show up at the end of the report.
Yeah.
But as the inspection software is, you're able to, when you send it out to your client, they can click on the problem and immediately the picture will pop up, auto-populate for them. I'm just not used to that. I'm used to the picture being with the problem as you're scrolling through the program on your computer.
Oh, okay. I'm following you. Yeah. Yeah, I'd love to at some point maybe jump on a individual call with you and see what that looks like and see if we can, kind of help you get it where you want it.
I'm waiting to buy my time for that. But then the neat thing was you guys had created the 4-point wind mitigation reports for us. And so I like that. I just would like to try to tweak that a little bit also.
Yeah, sure, absolutely. We can help you with that. Awesome. Let's see. I got Richard, David, Jonathan, Paul, Jeffrey, Richard Ingalls.
Too many pages.
I'm here.
Hey, Richard, how are you?
Would you like to? Okay.
Good. Where are you from
Would you
and
like to
where
know?
are you at with ScribeWare?
I am in Tampa Bay area,
Okay.
Florida, and where I'm at with that is I've got John Shishilla was kind enough to allow me to use his template. I've been looked at that, and I haven't even been able to do any inspections yet because I'm
Okay.
gonna always go back to what I've already been using and for 15 years. I would like to go to ScribeWare, but I just right, don't have time.
Okay, right on. Well, I will. I'll follow up with you after today's session and see if there's any way that I can help you get rolling faster.
And I'm limited my time because I have to be in another conference call
Okay.
right at before 1 o'clock. So I'll be logging off for that.
Okay, no problem. We'll try to
Just
keep
so
it
you know.
rolling here. Oh, all right. Let's jump over to Richard Sant. I know you and I have met individually, but just for the group's sake, tell us where you're from and where you're at with ScribeWare.
I'm with National Property Inspections. I'm with South Central PA. Been doing this for 10 years. I'm swapping over from a legacy, what do you call it, legacy inspection software that literally was called Inform 2015 because that's the year it came out. Jumped on ScribeWare. I've now used the sewer scoping, the Internachi template. I've used Dylan's template, and currently, as we're speaking right now, I'm using the CCPIA's template.
Nice.
When I first started using it, I had a lot of questions. Didn't realize that stuff was set up for Washington State in the comments, but once we worked through that, things are starting to flow a lot better. Especially like the captioning, voice to talk and captioning, and then just being able to hit and drop it right in the report for repairs. That is really speeding things up. There's a lot of good features I found out. The software even has magnifying. So if you're using you don't have to get out and get back in software like some of the other stuff I've tried. You can actually magnify it 2 or 3 times, and you can actually get stuff up in the soffits on the second story and stuff like that and drop it right in. That's nice. Um, but yeah, it's very adaptable. I'm even working, setting up a section so I do a lot of manufactured homes around here, setting that up too as a subsection, and then that's coming along pretty quick. But you're right. Once you get over the learning curve, it starts moving.
Yeah, for sure. Awesome. Thanks for being here. Let's jump over to Tony Forza.
Hello, everyone. So I am new to home inspection, so just got my license, and I have a mentor in Fabi Vince Cardone. He spoke highly of ScribeWare, so he said take a look at it, look into it. So that's the main reason why I'm here, to hear everyone and their experience, and then make a decision on what product to use. So I
Okay.
appreciate that. Yeah. The only question I have is maybe if you can address any of the back end services that you have at this point. For example,
Okay.
scheduling and billing. Do you do any of that, or what are your plans for it?
Yeah, absolutely. So I'll just go ahead and answer that for you. Now we are currently elbow deep in scheduling and being able to handle all of your scheduling, contact emails, text messaging, reminders for appointments, things like that. Pretty much anything you would use a scheduling software for, we'll be able to do. And it looks like, kind of the first round of beta testing is going to start here probably in the next 2 weeks. And I think they're hoping to kind of push out a public release probably by the end of June. And I would say that would be the latest. But hopefully by end of summer, we should have a fully functioning, product ready to roll for you. I know they've got the scheduling pieces kind of figured out. They've got the email stuff figured out. They've got payment processing figured out. So just kind of basically in the testing phase right now, seeing if there's any bugs or anything that needs to be figured out before they release it. So it's definitely on the radar and coming down the pipe pretty quick.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, absolutely. All right. Well, I'm going to jump in here and just kind of run through an intro to ScribeWare for some of you who haven't done anything with it yet or haven't dabbled with it a lot. So we're going to kind of go basic, and then we'll start to dive in a little bit deeper. The idea here was just to kind of get everybody who's new to ScribeWare a little more familiar with how it works, and then hopefully be able to ask some questions and And then if there's specific needs for individuals, then we can always, I can follow up with you after our meeting, send you a Zoom link, and we can jump on one-to-one and work out some things if you need help with anything. So I'm going to turn on my screen share here so you guys can see, and we'll get rolling here. So, all right. So within ScribeWare, this is kind of your home screen. So we're gonna, from the home screen, you're gonna see essentially, how to create a report. So your top buttons here would be to create from a template. You can create from the last template that you used by clicking on this left-hand button here. The middle will allow you to create from a template that is in your account. So if you want to use a different template for something, this is where you would go and select the template you want to use, and this would create a new report based on that. So, and then you can also schedule out. So if you have something that you want to, schedule in the future, you can do that as well. So over here on the left-hand side, you've got your home screen, which takes you to where we are now. Your submit feedback button. So if you're experiencing any problems or a bug or something happening with the software, this is where you would let us know what's happening. So you can click the button here and type a message to us, kind of describe what's going on and let us know maybe what you were trying to do, what you were looking for in the outcome of that, and then what the software did, that caused the problem for you. And when you do this, it also sends data logs to our programmers to let them know, where you were, what you were doing, what things were happening in the background, so they can actually dig in to the software and see where there might be a problem. So this is an awesome feature. If you're having issues, we really encourage you to use this submit feedback button, because not only does it, get front and center in front of our support people, but it also gives them all the data they need to kind of research and figure out the issue. And then down here underneath that, you have your settings. So this is kind of where we're going to set up ScribeWare for you and for your company. So you kind of start with the tabs here with profile, your name, your email, phone number. If you've got a license number, if you're in a licensed state, I think most of you guys are, it sounds like. And then you can do some settings here. If you're a licensed pest inspector, you can select that and also put your pest inspection license number in. You can show your review count on the home screen, and basically that just shows you if there's any items in a report that are left to be reviewed or items that are required that didn't get filled out on that report. And I'll show you what that looks like here a little later. You can choose themes, whether you light mode or dark mode or whatever your system default is, and it will follow. And then you can add images here of your signature, your initials, any certification logos that you want to have included in your report. So I know, some guys like to include like the InterNACHI logo or the FOBI logo, something like that. If you're, maybe a certified master inspector or, ASHI or what have you, you can throw those in there. So there's also an onboarding questionnaire here. If you're new, you can fill this out. That gives us a little more information about who you are, what you're looking to accomplish. Let us know, like if you're bringing, let's say you're coming from, Spectora or something like that. We do have imports. So if you're used to working with a particular template and software, a lot of times we can take your data files and bring them into ScribeWare and actually get you set up with a template that looks pretty darn close to what you're used to seeing. Obviously, it's going to use ScribeWare's functionality, but the layout, the order, how you have your sections set up, a lot of that stuff can come over into ScribeWare, and we can get you working with something that's maybe a little more familiar rather than starting fresh. So if you guys are used to using a certain software, just let us know what that is, and we'll see how we can help you bring anything over that you want to bring here. So you can also log out here. If for some reason you need to log out of your account, that generally probably won't happen too much. Company info. So this is where we're going to put information about your home inspection company. Header logo. You can have two different styles of logo depending on what you want to show up. Essentially, think of your header logo as something you would want to see on a website, and think of your print logo as something you would want to see on a PDF document. So if those are different for you, you can upload those individually here. And then you're going to put your company info in, so name, phone number, address, all that fun stuff, your website. Tell us how you want your emails to go out. So do you want to use, do you want all emails to come from one email address? For example, I've seen folks where they have all their emails come from, info at, joesinspections.com. And that way, their agents, their clients, whenever they get a report delivered or a communication from the company, it's coming from the same email address. Also have seen where you can just use if you leave it blank, whoever's writing the inspection report, it's going to default to their email address. So if you want your inspector's email to go to the client so they can, respond, ask questions, things of that nature, you can do that as well. So you can also do a blind copy. So if you want a copy of every report email to come to someone, or you want it to come to you, you can do that. Excuse me. All right. And then if you have taxes for your services, you can set that up here. So some of the stuff that you see here that we got to go through is the early stages of our scheduling stuff. So if it doesn't make sense to you right now, it's just because like all the pieces are not there just yet. So next tab is going to be your billing. So that's going to tell us what your current subscription is, or tell you, I should say, and when your next renewal date is. So we've got the home inspection, sewer inspection on this one. If you do heat loss or infrared, you can add things like that. Of course, we have the pay-as-you-go paper report type setup here. You can do that. You can do a monthly, either per month, or you can do it annually. So if you guys, I'm not sure where you're all at as far as subscriptions go. We do have, if you sign up for the annual subscription, we are doing basically 10 hours of one-to-one support and setup with you. So if you need help getting going, you can sign up for that annual plan. I think the total is like $10.68 for the year. And then also for you guys that are on here with me today, if you sign up for the annual plan, decide to pull that trigger, then we're throwing an extra 3 months in for you for free. So you're actually getting 15 months for 12 there. So, but if you need to put in your credit card info or anything, you would do that down here. So we can get you set up with that too if you need help with anything there. So client invoicing, we can set up what types of payments that you accept. We can put a footer message on your invoices here, and then also down here we have the payment processing set up here. So I haven't tested that out yet on my end. I think they're still kind of putting the finishing touches on that, but this is where we would go in and set that up when you're ready, or if that's a feature you want to use. So boilerplate language is basically, kind of what you would see in like the intro page or, the top paragraph of your inspection report. So generally, a lot of times this stuff is kind of predefined by either the software that you use, or it could be predefined by your E&O insurance carrier. I know that that's kind of how I set things up previously is, we looked at, hey, what is our insurance company? What do they want us to, send out to our clients? And what do they want them to understand? But essentially, it's just kind of your legalese, kind of cover your butt, explain what a home inspection is and what it isn't, explain what you're inspecting and what you're not inspecting, and then ultimately, maybe put a little bit about your process in there as well. And then you could also put in, some explanations about how to navigate and read the report as well. So this is just kind of our default language that's in here. You can, there's also some options here where you can change it, and you can also add your own. So if you have something you want to add in there, you can do that. You can also take one of these predefined ones and you can add to it. You can edit it. So if there's something you want to take out of there, something you want to add in, you can kind of change whatever you want, because ultimately it'll belong to you and to your reports. So before I jump to the next thing, does anybody have any questions so far?
So some of the stuff that you're showing us, we don't have. Is that because of an update, or is it because of the it's still in the beta for you guys?
Yeah, exactly. So like the things you're seeing about like the pay factory settings and that sort of thing, you might not see yet. And I know that I am on the beta. So if you're just on the standard version, that stuff hasn't been released yet to the standard version, which is okay. If you're it takes kind of a special user to be a beta user. You have to be willing to know that maybe some things might be broken when you're a beta user, and be willing to like work with that and navigate through it. So not everybody wants to be, and I've done both, with different softwares over the years. So sometimes being a beta user, it's great because you get to see all the new stuff that's coming down the pike and test it out, but it can also screw up your day if something's wrong. So I've definitely been on both sides of that.
I also noticed that yesterday an update came through the app for mobile devices. So they're on like 7.2 versus my
Okay.
desktop is still on 6.18.
Yes, and those are going to be different versions. Yep. For sure. So at any time on the desktop side, if there's any updates available, you should see a little message. If we're on the home screen, I'll show you real quick here. You'll see a message over here on the top right that'll say, hey, there's a new update available. Do you want to install it now? So you should see that. The only way that you might miss that is if you leave ScribeWare open and don't close out the app. So if you leave it open for a couple days or a week or whatever, and then you might come back and get a message that there's an update. But generally, if you close it out when you're done at the end of the day and then open it the next morning, you'll be on top of any updates that are coming.
But for right now, it's common for me for my desktop to be 6.18 and my mobile to be 7.2 because I don't see an update on my desktop.
On your desktop, yeah, exactly. They are on different version numbers. So
Okay.
generally it just kind of goes based on, updates get pushed out based on needs, so like, and the mobile app is like a completely different animal than the desktop, so different programming, different things like that. So, yeah, you'll definitely see that those are different version numbers. Don't let it bother you, I guess.
Hey, Chris, regarding the templates, is there like a repository of them somewhere or a library?
Yes, so we do have a library of templates that's on our website. Let me see if I can find it real quick for you here just to show what that looks like. Get rid of these meeting controls. But yeah, if you go to scribeware.com, and let's see here. Oh, did they move it on me? Yeah, we used to have a spot for it here. Now I'm not seeing it. But yes, we do have essentially a template store that you can peruse, and I will I'll get you a link to that. Who asked that question?
That was Tony Borza. Thank you.
Tony, okay. I'm gonna just make a note of that real quick. Tony, I'll get you a link to that.
Thank you.
Yeah, no problem. So next up here in the settings side of things is going to be template options. So you essentially can choose which template you want to apply, these settings to. So then you can go in here and decide, okay, which boilerplate language do I want to use? So if you brought something in that, is custom to you and saved it, in that boilerplate section, then you can go in and select that item and that will apply that language to that template for every report. Icons, this is just kind of a fun thing. Nobody, it's not something you have to use, but feel free to use it if you'd like to. You can, essentially throw in there. And then you've got your settings on here and include a quick look summary. So this is essentially your summary section. You can decide here, do you want that at the beginning of your report or do you want that at the end? And that's just up to you and how you like to deliver those reports. Enable tables in the report. So this is kind of a new function that we're just rolling out. And this is super helpful in like commercial inspections. So if you're doing a larger commercial building, maybe it's got multiple units, whether it be multifamily or maybe it's like an office condo type complex, we can do some table functionality where essentially like we can put all the air conditioning units into a table and that table will show you like the size and the model number and information that you're filling out and gathering as you go through the inspection. So that's kind of a new feature that I've only seen a little bit of, and but it should be pretty cool for commercial inspections. So you can elect here whether or not you want to include an invoice or a receipt for your client. So like if you're already doing your billing and scheduling through another software, this is something you probably want to turn off. Ultimately, as we launch scheduling, this might be something you want to have included. So totally up to you what you want to do there. And then observations. So you can have it set up to sort observations by modifier. And when we say modifier, we mean like what's the direction that you've given the client? Is this a repair item? Is this a safety issue? Is this a monitor? Is this deferred maintenance? Those types of things. And then you can have your report sorted by those. So like all of your repair items will be together. All of your recommended maintenance items would be together. All of your safety issues would be together. Or you can keep it, set to where it's just by section and in order of the section that you have it. Totally up to you on that, how you want that to look. I personally, I like to sort it by modifier because it just makes it a little cleaner and neater and easier for the client to get through. So table of contents in the report PDF. So essentially, do you want like a page in the beginning of your PDF that shows, what sections are on what page? Totally up to you. I will tell you in ScribeWare, your default report delivery is going to be in HTML format. And that's probably the simplest and the easiest way to deliver your reports. And also it's going to be most user-friendly for your customers because then they can review the report on any device, whether it be, an 85-inch TV or their smartphone, and everything will scale according to the device that they're using, and the report will look nice on whatever they're viewing it on. With a PDF, you're just kind of stuck with a paper type 8.5 by 11 looking format. And that might be harder for them to navigate on a phone or a tablet, So for the most part, I would always encourage to deliver your reports in the HTML format. And at the top of every report, if a client wants a PDF, they just click a button and it immediately takes them to the PDF document. So include your chapter names in the summary, so if you kind of want, like, let's say you're doing a system by system report, you can have your summary go, okay, here's the structure items, here's the roofing items, here's the exterior items, or you can have them all, put together. You can also include the section names. So if, let's say, if you have items in roof covering and roof flashing, then you can have those separated, or you can just have everything together with roofing. Totally up to you how you want to separate those out. So numeric observation keys. So if you want your observations to be lettered or numbered, you can kind of turn off and on what you want. So default is going to be letters. And then you can choose here to turn on numeric and make them numbered. So whatever you'd like to do there. So show cover photo, most people want to have that on there. So that's typically a kind of a default cover photo on there. And then you can elect to whether or not you want to have, that you produce the report with ScribeWare in the footer of the report, or you can have that turned off and it'll just be blank. It won't show you what software that you're using. So totally up to you there. So then you can give your summary a title. You can give your report a title, whatever you want to call it. And then also you can give a template description, that type of thing there. So jumping up down to tags. Tags is a pretty neat feature that you can do a lot of different things with. So we've got, just a few that are loaded into mine here, but you can do essentially whatever you want to do with tags. You can have it, this particular setup here is designed so that if you have an observation, you can put a contractor tag on it. And then ultimately you can sort a list of your inspection items for your client based on who might fix those things. So they can have a list of, here's the carpenter's issues, here's the appliance repair needs, here's the HVAC needs, something like that. You could do this for locations. And I've seen people that'll have different setups for the tags. So like they might have one group of tags that are for exterior locations, and then you can have another group of tags for interior locations. You could have bathroom locations. It's kind of an open canvas, so to speak. So you can kind of do with that what you want. But ultimately, especially on a photo-driven workflow, you could use tags to specify locations, and then you don't have to go in and put a location into the observation. The photo will have the tag of the location on it. So think of tags as like an easy way for you to throw in data about something that you would type in often. So instead of typing in hey, the faucet was leaky in the half bathroom, you could just have an observation that says the faucet was leaky, and you can have a tag that you can attach to it that says half bath. So like that. So smart tags is a new feature. I don't know enough about it to even be dangerous, so I'm gonna kind of skip over that, and that'll be coming down the pike. Then contracts is where you would put your agreements in. So you can build an agreement in here. You can copy and paste an existing agreement in here, and then you can also, insert various things that you need to. So, if you want to have your company name in here, then it'll pull that from your ScribeWare data. Then you can add a place for who the inspector is, and who the client is. Property address, inspection date, report number, all those things. And then once you have that saved, then this will be, kind of your default inspection agreement, and then your client can accept it, sign it, those sorts of things. So this is just where we would set all that up within ScribeWare. So message templates. So this is going to get in a little bit into the scheduling side that hasn't quite rolled out yet, but essentially this is where we can set up email communications to your clients. So, confirmation of the inspection. You could set up a reminder of the inspection, the day before, things of that nature. So observation modifiers. So this is where you can decide what observation modifiers that you want to use. We have a whole host of them within ScribeWare that you're welcome to use anything that you'd like here. You can also create your own, and you can also edit the ones that are in here. And then you can also specify what modifiers you want to have available to your template. So like if we click on the InterNACHI residential template here, these are the modifiers that are currently part of that. And we can make changes to those. We can customize those. If there's things that you wouldn't want to use, you can hide them or delete them so they're not available to you. It's kind of the world is your oyster, so to speak. And that really is a theme throughout ScribeWare. If there's something that you want to change or customize, about a 99.5% chance that we can do that. So if you wanted to edit the modifier, you can change the name of it. If it's a plural item, you can, change that here. You can change the description of that modifier. If in case there's no instances of a modifier, like let's say there's no items that are, safety, or there's no, due diligence items, then you can have it give a description in case there's no instances of that. You can change the icon of the modifier, you can change the color, and then you can decide here if this is something that you want to include in your summary section, include in your repair request list if that's something you want to use. And then obviously, do we want to include these in the report? Do we want to show the observation key? So essentially the letter code or number code. And then also connected field values, we can have it show next to those. And I'll get into a little bit about what those are here as we move on. And then you can also decide if you want to show that modifier even if there's none of those in your report. So for example, let's say if there's no safety issues, you can actually elect to say, hey, there were, you'll have a little blurb in there that'll say, there were no safety issues discovered during this inspection. So that'd be up to you. Some folks may elect just to leave it blank, hey, if there's no safety issues, then I don't want anything in there about that, if that makes sense. So then also if this is not a modifier that you want to use, then you can just get rid of it by clicking the hide modifier button down here. So anything that you change on this, you would just want to hit save changes, or if you want to revert back to where it was because you don't like what you changed, you can just hit the reset button and it'll go back to the default setting. So kind of close that out. And like I said, you can always add new modifiers, and you're welcome to use all the ones that we have here as well. So, and different templates will have different modifiers to them. So that'll be something that you might want to use in your report style. If you've been doing inspections for a while, you probably already have something that, real estate agents and clients might be familiar with. So you might want to keep that. If this is brand new to you, then you kind of get to decide how you want to set it up. So team. So this is going to be for anybody who's a multi inspector. So if you've got an assistant inspector, or you've got a few inspectors that work for you, this is where you're going to invite users to your ScribeWare team. So you would just simply click invite, put their email address in, and it'll send them a link to download and join ScribeWare, and then you can get them set up from there once they have it on their computer. So agent list, this is something that will build out over time as you put agent names, contacts, and stuff into your inspection reports. This list will just kind of be built out for you. And then this will also come in handy too once we start to do scheduling as well. So integrations. So if you're using a scheduling product, let's say you're using ISN or using Keystone from iGo, there are integrations here that we can set up to bring in, like, if you're using ISN, it'll connect with your ISN calendar. And anytime there's a confirmed inspection on your ISN calendar, it's going to automatically create an inspection in your ScribeWare for that client, that property address, kind of give you all the basic information that you have in ISN already. Such as like the property square footage, the age of the home, the address, who the client is, what their phone number is, email, things of that nature. And you can kind of, play with some settings with that as to what information you want to come in and what you don't want to come in. So if you need any help setting that up, we can help you out with that as well. So, and then if you need any like Zapier integrations, if you're familiar with Zapier, you can use Zapier to set up things for, like, if you're using a CRM, for example, to maintain client contact or agent contact. If you have maybe you have home maintenance tips that you send out to every client, twice a year or 3 times a year or something like that after the inspection. You can set up the integrations here so that the customer information goes from ScribeWare into your CRM, and tricks that up. So, and there's other APIs here for REST, which is just a different integration to kind of make it do fancy things. Those are some pretty advanced settings, but if that's something that you need help with, just let us know. So, PDF forms, this is just kind of our global PDF form fill mapping. So we have some of the most popular PDF forms that you might need for a home inspection. And then we have those things that are kind of already mapped as to what information should go in those. And then report specific mapping happens within the template. And that's something that we can help you with as well. So it's a little bit convoluted at the moment, but it is on our upgrade list. So we're hoping to make that a little more simple and easy to do here in the next probably 3 to 6 months.
Are they going to make that sortable, Chris?
It is currently not sortable. I don't know. My guess is when we upgrade it, my guess is it'll be sorted by form. Because right now it's kind of a hodgepodge, and I think it is just I think the list is simply based on when it was last updated. So like the newest things are probably at the top, and the oldest ones are at the bottom.
I'll give you $1 if you get it sorted.
Yeah, right on. So, but if you do need any help with PDF stuff, myself or Steve, he's one of our owners, and he's the master of PDF forms. Either one of us can help you out. And if I can't,
he hates me.
Yeah, I can imagine.
He hates me.
So yeah, I kind of had to learn it by default, and so he kind of gave me about a 15-minute rundown, and then everything else I've kind of taught myself. So
perfect, thank you.
But yeah, no problem. Advanced features. So this would be if you're having any issues with something being laggy or not updating for you correctly, if you go here and hit this clear cache button, that'll kind of delete out your temporary memory. You won't lose any data, but think of it as like cookies on a website. Because ScribeWare is cloud-based, so you've got a lot of data going back and forth all the time when you're using ScribeWare, and sometimes it can get clogged up. So if you're having any troubles, sometimes an easy thing to do is go into this advanced settings and hit the clear cache button. Like I said, you won't lose any data from your reports or anything, but it might help clear up the pipes a little bit and make things work better. So, and then the next piece here is going to be CSS. If you're not familiar with CSS, it stands for Cascading Style Sheets. And essentially, this is where we can help you customize the look and feel of your inspection report. So, colors, if you guys are familiar with Home Inspector Pro, or they would call it stationary. Essentially, is what the report was printed on, so to speak. So it can be like more of a custom design. You can change up, the color scheme. You can change up the layout. We can add in rules in here about photos. So, for example, like I always worked on a report software where if I had one photo, I tried to put 3, if that makes sense, because it lined up on the page really nicely and made the report look good. So I generally would never use one photo at a time in a section. If I had one photo, I'd try to add 2 more into it. And that way I had nice, even lines of photos, and I would have 3 photos on the page. And then you can set up rules here where hey, if I only have one photo, I want it to be on the left-hand side of the page, or I want that to be the center of the page, or the right-hand side of the page. So, anything that you can think of to do with a visual update or edit or change to your report, this is where we would do it. And for those of you that are kind of getting started, once you have your template dialed in, we have a gentleman at ScribeWare. His name's Tim, and he is like our resident guru when it comes to editing CSS. So once you're ready to roll and want to change the look of some things, we can set you up an appointment with Tim, and you kind of let him know, what you're looking for and what you want to achieve with the look and feel of your report, and he'll go in and do the customization for you. And for anybody that's signed up on like an annual plan, that's something that we include. There's no cost to that, so it's basically a free setup for you. So, and then the other thing that's at the last thing here is the What's New button. So that takes us to the website and gives us a list of any updates or bug fixes that are included with your most recent update. So you can click that button. It'll take you to your web browser, open up a page, and you'll be able to see, okay, what did they change in this last update? And it'll give you a list of things that have been updated there. So, okay, perfect. Well, that's the settings tab. Kind of running a little long here, but is there any questions that I can answer for anybody right now before we jump into a report? Okay, perfect. So I'm going to jump into an inspection report, and just to kind of give you a brief overview of the report setup. So this is our narrative template that's included with ScribeWare. As Richard mentioned, the narrative template kind of comes from one of our founders, Dylan, and he is in Washington State. So sometimes you'll find the things that are in his report template may be a little bit specific to his area, but just keep in mind, if it's something that you're not going to use or something you don't like, you can always edit it, delete it, whatever you decide to do there. So when you open up a report, it's generally going to take you to the client info page. So this is where you're going to have your client information, your cover photo, who the contacts are. So you can add, agents, if there's maybe a title company or somebody you want to include there, something along those lines, you can do that as well. Inspection details would be, date, time, what's the time slot that we've allotted for this? Are we using a contract? What's the title of the report? Who's the inspector? If you're using a scheduling integration, this stuff's pretty much already going to be filled out for you, and you really won't have to mess with it. So then the invoice info, if we're using the invoice, this is where, your fees would be located and totals, and then you can, choose to mark it paid or whatever. If they give you cash or check or something on site, you can do that here. So report links. So this is where you would find links to your inspection report. This one here doesn't have one yet because I haven't published it. So once I publish it, it'll create a unique link here. And then the documents tab here where it says report directory. This is helpful for you like down the road. So let's just say, for example, and I inspected houses for 12 years, so I've been there a few times. You get a call 2 or 3 months after the inspection, and they want to know, well, do you remember this? Did you see that? Those types of questions. You can go into the report directory, and it'll show you all of your photos that you took from that inspection. So you can kind of walk yourself back through the inspection with the report directory. And, if there's a question about a specific room or a specific item or something like that, you might be able to jog your memory and help your client out that way. So, and then the client portal, this is kind of still in testing here, but this is something that's coming as well. And essentially, this is just a link to what the email that the client receives and shows them where their inspection report lives and that sort of thing. So that'll be more robust here as we roll out scheduling. So, look for some changes and updates to that here in the next couple months. So report settings, you can change the template type. You can save it. You can change the boilerplate if you want to use a different boilerplate language in here. It'll automatically assign a report number if you want your reports numbered. That's something that you can change as well if that's something that you don't want to have in there. Report activity is something that you'll see again. This will be more information as we start to use scheduling. But ultimately, you'll be able to see here like who opened the report and when. So for example, if you email the report out and the agent opened it an hour after you sent it, it'll show you, hey, Susie Realtor opened this report on, May 5th at 11 p.m. So things like that. So ultimately, you'll be able to tell if the client opened the report, did the agent open the report, just some quick information. So advanced settings, again, takes us into that CSS. So if there's something you want to change specifically just for that report, you can do that here. My guess is, for the most part, most users are probably not going to do that. But just to give you an idea here. So then we jump into overview. This particular overview is something that doesn't get used. Dylan actually set his up in general comments. So that's where he gets into, hey, what kind of house is this? What's the style? What's the type of building? What's the square footage? So some people will put that into the overview. Like I said, Dylan has it here under general comments. Who attended the inspection? Is it occupied? Is it vacant? Those types of things. But as far as the basic structure of ScribeWare, this tab here on the left-hand side is your chapters. So we've got general comments, we've got grounds, we've got exterior, and then within those chapters we have sections. So he's got elevations, siding and trim, vent and exhaust, eaves, doors, windows. So some people I've seen will elect to have, sections for everything, like Dylan does here. And I've also seen where folks will set up a template where all the exterior things will be in one section and it'll just be like one long list. So totally up to you how you want to do that. If you're looking through the templates, just so for your knowledge, the items that are in red with the 2 stars, those are called required fields. And the required fields are basically, something that you might use to follow your SOPs for your state or for whatever professional standard you're using. So then you would make any item that has to be inspected by you would make that a required field. And then ultimately that would create a list of things that you need to fill in. So if you look over here on the far left, you'll see where it says review 198 items. So that tells us there's 198 fields that are required and need to be filled in. So if I were to go in here and make a selection for the trim, then now my review list drops to 197 because I filled that in. Same thing if I pick the siding material. Now I've dropped to 196. So, and then kind of moving down, wherever you see a yellow type like this, yellow or orange, whatever color you want to call that, that means that button is attached to a connected field. So if I were to click this button, it would automatically put a narrative in my report that says, hey, localized rot repairs are needed, and here's what I have. So this kind of makes it easy for you. This is a really neat way to build a template because what you'll find in doing home inspections is you're ultimately, a lot of your houses are going to have the same problems. So a lot of times you're going to be writing up things from day to day or even inspection to inspection that were the same as the last house. And Dylan, I kind of refer to it as like you can quick link your top 10 or top 15, greatest hits, so to speak, your most popular findings, and link those to comments. So as you're doing the report, you just have to go in and start clicking buttons, and it puts in the observations that you use the most often right into the report. And then you can add your photos in, you can add some additional information. You can change, whatever verbiage you want to here specific to that report. So, and then while we're kind of on this, I'll explain here what you're seeing in the yellow. So yellow is called text replacement. So anytime you see something highlighted in yellow within a comment, if you double click it, it will give you some choices. And then you can also edit and change these out to have whatever you want them to be. So this one has, hey, there was rot visible in, the standard is the rot was in the trim, but maybe it wasn't in the trim. Maybe it was in the doors or the windows, or maybe it was in multiple things. You can go in and select where the rot was located or what items had it, and then you can, add that to your report. So for example, if, hey, maybe there was some windows and there was, exposed beams or something like that, you can hit close, and now it's added those things right in there. So same thing down here. He's got, kind of a boilerplate note here. Please note this condition can indicate additional damage that's not visible. You can change that too. So he's got some other choices here. So text replacement is also a pretty popular feature in ScribeWare, and you can really utilize it to you can essentially take a broad or vague comment about something, and then you can drill down and make it customizable to each house, if that makes sense. Any questions so far?
When we're creating those gunny sacks, is there a video tutorial that shows me how to attach it to other chapters easily?
Yeah, absolutely. Yep. I'm going to make a note right here for you, and I'm going to send you the video on gunny sacks. And then also there's a separate video on copying comments and stuff to various sections. So I'll send you both of those, and then if for any reason you get lost with either one of those, just reach out and let me know, and we'll help you out.
Hey, Chris.
Yes.
On the drop down for the highlighted yellow, like it has, like you have multiple bathrooms, like guest bathroom, things like that.
Sure.
Is there any way to copy that to another section without having to retype it all?
That is a good question. So, are you thinking specifically of locations?
That's typically what I run into. Like
Okay.
I still use the old jargon master as opposed to primary, but
Yeah.
primary bathroom, primary bedroom, that kind of thing.
Yeah.
I mean, as I build new templates, I find that I have to multiply that times, 2 or 3 or 4.
Yeah.
And that was one thing that HIP had that was pretty convenient, was that capability to have that more or less dictionary of terms, and you just kind of transfer it to each one. Yeah.
Yeah. So in ScribeWare, what I would do is I would use the tag feature for that. So if you have, you could make different tag groups for interior locations, exterior locations, bathroom locations, so I would create a tag group for bathrooms, and then I would just make my locations, like a list here, and then you can just click on that tag for that comment and select the location that you want to have, and then close it, and it'll automatically put the location in with that. Does that make sense?
So, like in the one we're looking at here, trim windows. So if we were saying get.
Oh, I lost you.
On it like you do.
Yeah, I'm sorry, I lost you there for a second, David. What was the?
How do you get it to go where you want it inside your comment?
Oh, as far as the text replacement goes?
Yeah.
Yeah, sure. So let me show you that real quick. Maybe I didn't.
No, you're on the right track. I think I'm trying to make it too complex.
No, that's okay. So if you wanted to have something else be a text replacement. So for example,
correct.
Right here you could put location, and then what you would do here is you would highlight the word location, click the 3 lines right here, and then we can edit that location. So you could put
right.
Exterior front porch,
but we
whatever
wouldn't be able
you
to multiple use those. That'd be just a one-time use, right? So what I was doing is putting them into Word. I was putting them into Word and then copying and paste out of Word.
Yes, yeah, and that would be kind of a shortcut that you could do that way with. You could also with the alternate text in ScribeWare is more so like a description of a problem. Right. And like I said, the tag feature is probably better suited for locations, because then you only have to do that work one time.
Right. Yeah. Yeah.
Yep.
It's not like I'm not like I'm modifying my template every single time I touch it, but yeah. Okay.
Yeah,
Got it.
exactly. But ultimately, like to keep yourself, sane, so
Right.
to speak. Yeah, I think that if you haven't used that tag feature, that might be the way to do it.
Yep. I'll look into that. I'll play with that a
Chris,
little bit.
can you show that one more time, quick?
Sure. As far as adding in like a text
Yeah.
replacement,
Yes.
sure. Yeah. So ultimately, you just put your cursor wherever you want that text to be editable. So if you want to have options, so like here we have general contractor. Well, maybe I want to have something else here. If I highlight that general contractor and then I click on the 3 lines here, then I can add some choices. So I could put, handyman, electrician, you know, HVAC tech, whatever you want to have for options there. And then I hit save. Now that is a text replacement. I can double click it and I can choose from those options.
And that's permanent then? It goes in the library that way?
Yeah, so the only thing that you would want to do from here to make sure that that is permanent is you would want to click on the 3 dots right here and hit update library.
The library. I should have guessed that.
Yeah. So one little tip on ScribeWare, if you are making a change to a library comment, if you want that change to be forever, to be like, hey, I want this comment to be this way, on all my reports, then whenever you edit it, just go up here and click that update library button. If you're only updating it for that specific report and you're only making changes and edits, then you don't need to update the library. So think of it that way. If it's something where, you're just making it and customizing it to that particular house, you don't have to save it to the library. But if it's something where you want that report, you want that library comment to be different for every report moving forward, then you can update the library. Any other questions at the moment? I know we're running a little over on time and there were some guys that had to roll. So I'm going to stop here. We're going to do a few more of these. So, don't feel like you're missing out here. But ultimately, I want to open it up here for the last 5 or 10 minutes and let you guys ask questions. And then I'll follow up with, some emails and stuff for you on some of the specific things if we could answer them right here. And we can kind of go from there. So I will. I'm going to go ahead and leave my screen share on in case there's something I need to show you guys. But let me kind of open this up. Feel free to pop in with any questions you guys have at the moment.
So, Chris, I have questions on PDFs because that's my biggest downfall right now. Is I
Okay.
go in and modify like they do the WinMit and the 4.4s in Florida.
Yeah.
And I've gone in and changed their template to have drop downs for like electric panel manufacturers, years, and things like that.
Yeah.
And I mean, I did that early on, and I've had to do it 3 times now.
Okay.
Because when they come in and update the template and put that little note up there, the last time they did it, it threw 2 of my
some
reports into a
changes.
tizzy.
Okay.
And I don't know whether it's on my end. I was going to talk to Steve about it, but I just haven't had a chance to call out there.
Yeah.
I don't know whether it's my end that caused the problem or something in what they did. I'm just trying to, because the problem was I was working till 10 o'clock at night trying to fix these reports for the next morning. So
Yeah.
I was getting a little nervous.
Sure. I understand that. I'm going to sneak in here and see if I can look at your account real quick. But ideally, what we may need to do for you, David, is save that 4-point WinMit template as something different so that then when they make changes to the default template, then whatever changes you've made don't get affected. Does that make sense?
Yeah. Yeah, because I mean, it changed every single one of my 4 points, and I couldn't even get a 4 point out of even my main report that has all that in there, which is the thing that attracted me when I was over at John's training, was having HIP, you had a separate report for every single thing you did, whereas this
Yeah.
was all modified into one. It was so cool, and it definitely saves me time. So I'm very happy with ScribeWare. It's just I get frustrated, especially when it starts to get late at night. I'm like, oh my god, I'm not going to get this done because I know where they live. They're not
Right,
here in
right.
Florida. So
Let me see here. I didn't find
yeah,
it right away, but let me jump
and
in
he
there.
did fix it. Steve did fix it. He finally got it. He sent back an UG, fixed it.
Yeah.
But he was working. He was working late. So
Right on. Well, do me a favor, drop your email into the chat here on Zoom, and I will follow up with you, and I'll take a look at your template and see if we can make a change there that would keep it so that if they do make any major changes, that it doesn't screw you up again.
yeah, how do I do that on Zoom? Zoom.
There should be a button for chat. Should be at the bottom. Go ahead.
It probably is. I don't know.
Let's see. If you have the meeting controls open at the top of the screen, there should be a little button up there that says chat. It might make it easier if I stop sharing my screen. You might be able to see it better. So if you're on the main Zoom screen, it should be in the bottom.
Got it.
Okay, perfect. Anybody else have any pressing questions or curiosities?
Yeah, Chris, for the MP, whatever that is, 33 form for wood destroying insect.
Yes.
I haven't even gotten that far on ScribeWare yet, but we use that quite a bit up here. How do I upload it and be able to use that?
So ultimately, we would need just a whatever copy that you have the rights to. Send me a copy of the blank PDF, and I can get it loaded into your template, and then we can make sure it's mapped correctly and make sure everything's in there.
Okay. So I have to send it to you. Okay.
Yeah, send it to me, or you could send it to Steve as well. But I know Steve is so covered up with trying to get this scheduling stuff out. If you send it to me, I can probably get it knocked out for you within a day or two.
Sweet.
Chris, could you repeat one more time what you said earlier on the photos and including them, how that worked?
Oh, as far as where
If
we
you
were
take a
talking.
picture. Yeah, I missed that part. Yeah.
Sure. So on the desktop version, I'm going to show you that just since that's what we're working on. Let me go back in and share my screen so you can see. So let me go in here to kind of a mock inspection that I was working on. So you guys can see that. So if I've got, so essentially any photos that I take within the mobile app, those are going to show up here on the right-hand side of my screen. So these are the photos that I took while I was at the inspection. And then if some guys like to take pictures with a digital camera and then they load them onto their laptop, you can add photos here. You just click the plus button, it'll open your file explorer, and then you can go and select a folder of photos, or you can select a single photo to include. But once you kind of have your library of pictures here from your report, essentially you're going to include photos to observations, if that makes sense. So essentially to put a picture in the report, you want to tie it to something. Now some people will have, general photos. So you might have let's say, I always trained inspectors to hey, even if there's nothing wrong with the attic, I want you to have 3 pictures in the report and it just kind of shows the client that you inspected the attic, even if you didn't find anything wrong. So we can create essentially general photo observations on your report template. So you would just click a button and it would give you a place to drop your photos in. So for example, under grounds, we talked about downspouts not connected to storm drains. So I would just go through and find the photos that I wanted to include for that. And I would click on the photo and drag it over here. And that's how I'm going to include photos in my report. Does that help?
Yeah, it does. You had mentioned tags earlier. Is there an
Yes,
association with, say, that section and the photos that you can make? Some kind of
absolutely.
rough-
So
Yeah.
yeah, ultimately, if we wanted to tag this photo with something, we could just double click on it here. This would take us into the edit photo mode. And then we can add tags right here at the bottom where it says add on the left side. And then whatever tags, and this will vary for user to user. So if you build out a tag group of locations, it's going to give you choices, which tag group do you want to look at? And then you can choose, whatever tag you want, and you can add that to the photo, and now that photo is tagged. So
I do have one more quick question for you. Sorry about
yeah,
this.
go right ahead.
So obviously doing the 4-point and the WinMet, right? There may be some photos that are common for those forms. Can you pull them out of this repository for them, or do we have to take new ones?
No, you can. So you can reuse photos.
Okay.
Yeah. So that's a great question. That is one feature that I enjoy. So like we use this photo right here for the storm drains.
Okay.
Let's say that photo applied to something else that I had. I could essentially okay, here's a new observation. I can go back up and I can take that same photo, because essentially when I select it, it doesn't remove it from my library. So I can take that same photo and I can drop it in to this one. And for some reason, I'm not seeing it at the moment, but should be able to find it easy. It has a little green check mark next to it. So, there it is. So if you see the little green check mark, that means that you're using that photo in the report somewhere, but it doesn't prevent you from using it again.
You'd use it in another report too. Correct.
I'm sorry.
But you could use it in another report, like for example, your 4-point. That's correct.
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay.
Yep,
Good.
exactly.
All right.
Yep.
Thank you.
No problem.
Chris, real quick on when you're doing the photos, like arrows and circles and things like that, is there
Yeah.
any way to set a default on this? Because right now for me, it always shows small double-ended arrow, and I only use a single-ended arrow. And I like
Okay.
the larger size. Is there any way to default that, or is that not?
Is that are you talking about on the mobile or on the
On the desktop?
desktop? Yeah. So it should be just a single-ended arrow.
Mine always comes up with an end.
Okay, gotcha. Yeah, I don't know that that's a default setting, but that is something I can check into, because I don't even know. So I would think if you change those things, it should.
It doesn't.
It doesn't.
It
Doesn't
doesn't.
save for the next one. Okay.
No. Well, it doesn't on mine.
Okay, it does on yours. Yeah, I'll ask about that and see if that's something that we can.
That's a tiny little crap.
Yeah, there might be something that I just don't realize or don't know, because there could be a way to do it. Let me ask about that.
Yeah. Great. I appreciate it.
Yeah, no problem. Cool. Awesome. Anything else we can jump into?
On the 4-point and WinMit, is there a way that I can change or request that instead of it being dots, that it be X's that occupy the spaces of the what I'm trying to click off on?
Yes. Yeah, that is something that we can help you change for sure. I don't remember
Okay.
exactly how to do it at the moment. I'd have to jump in and play with it, but I know that it can be done because I did it for another user.
Yeah,
and then make it more bolder for the names, and when your address instead of the small font. How technical can I ask request for the 4-point WinMit?
Yeah.
Good question.
I'm just making a note here real quick.
And one more.
Yeah.
When I have to describe my deficiencies in the electrical or the plumbing, is there a way to make the section accept that. I'm not certain if there's just a limited amount of space. I've been manipulating the PDF after it's been
Okay.
created through the ScribeWare
Yeah.
and making and doing the same. It just takes a little bit longer, but I'm able to do that. I was just wondering, what kind of details I can request from you guys.
Yeah, I mean, we should, if there's like some place that you need more room for information or you need more detail, we should be able to add that in for you, no problem.
Okay. I just don't know how to ask it on an email to make it make sense.
Yeah,
Because I
yeah.
don't know what field number it is or how to describe the box and inside the.
Yeah, if you would also do the same and drop your email into the chat for me, I'll follow up with you and we can schedule a one-on-one and we can work on that. Yeah. So I kind of keep a calendar of availability and I can just shoot that over to you and you can pick a spot that works for you and we can jump on, a Zoom call for 45 minutes or an hour and we can go through it.
Did it come through?
Yep, I see it.
Okay.
Yeah, I didn't. David, did you put yours in the chat? Did you find it?
I did. You didn't see?
No, for some reason it didn't come through.
It's right above there.
Yeah, weird. I see Jeffrey's, but I don't see David's.
How about now? I just sent it again.
Okay. I'll look for it. If not, I'll hunt you down.
Yeah.
All right. Awesome. Any other questions, guys?
Thanks, Chris. Good job.
Yeah, no problem. Appreciate you guys jumping on. Hopefully, gave you a little bit of info to at least maybe get started with some stuff on ScribeWare. And then, like I said, if you guys find that you need help, I'm going to go ahead and throw my email in the chat here. So if you guys need it, you can get a hold of me. And I'd be happy to help you guys out.
I had a simple question, I think.
Yeah, go
That's
right ahead.
actually what you were just saying. When I run into things that I need to ask, who do I call? Because I have Mike's name, but I've called him 2 or 3 times. I don't want to keep bugging him, but he was nice enough that he sat with me for 30 minutes and no problem told me everything to do. So
Yeah,
who do
sure.
I call or how do I do that? And how much do you all charge when there needs to be a charge? I'm just trying to figure this stuff out.
What plan are you on, Richard? Are you like a paper report kind of guy, or?
I'm gonna pay paper report for now because, like I say, I'm just starting to get everything together, and I'm not doing 10 inspections a week, so
Yeah, sure, no problem. Yeah, so
and
I
I
would
know
say,
that's
save my email.
Mhm.
And if you run into issues, send me an email. This is kind of a part-time gig for me, but I keep an eye on my messages.
Gotcha.
And when I'm not doing ScribeWare stuff, I'm a firefighter, and a lot of times I'm just sitting around waiting for a call to come in.
Oh, cool.
So if I can, jump in and I can answer your questions in a minute or two, like I'll just respond to your email and try to help you. Or if it's easier, I have a pretty good handle on our YouTube library, and a lot of times I can just send you a link to a video that shows you how to do it.
Yeah.
And then ultimately, like if it comes down to it, we need to jump on a call or something, like we'll do that for you. We're not going to leave you hanging.
Yeah, my
Yeah,
questions so far have been usually simple. It's like dumb questions that everybody already knows because they've used software before, but I haven't used any of this stuff. So it's kind of like,
yeah, sure.
where do I find this or how do I do this?
Yeah, no worries. Yeah, and if it is something pressing that you need more of an immediate response to, you use that submit feedback button, and that will
Okay.
that'll get you in the queue for support, and the next person available is going to jump in and try to help you out.
Okay, cool.
So
Appreciate that.
yeah, no problem. Yeah, I kind of think of the submit feedback as the emergency line, and then if it's not an emergency, you can just shoot me an email.
Cool deal. Thank you.
Yeah. Awesome. How do I attach an icon at the chapter, like what is showing for the garage or the electric? Let's see here. That is a great question, and I don't know if I know the answer to that. But let's see if we have those may be a default setting, but Jeffrey, I'll find out for you, and I'll get that answered for you along with those text questions about the PDF.
All right. I just thought it looked neat, so I thought I'd ask.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, I don't remember exactly how to do it, but I know that it can be changed.
Okay.
Oh, awesome.
I appreciate it, Chris. Thanks for taking the time with us.
Yeah, not a problem. I appreciate you guys joining in. We did the first one of these about 2 weeks ago, and we did it on a Sunday, and nobody showed up. So I was glad to see that I had some folks to work with today. So awesome. Well, I've got all your info here. Look for an email from me if I had any follow-up stuff, questions or anything for you guys. And then if you guys ever need anything down the road as you're getting things rolling with ScribeWare, just let me know.
One more question.
Yeah.
If I've taken a photograph from the on my desktop from a file and I moved it into the media area, if I go to my iPad,
yep,
is there a way to push that photograph to my mobile device, or will it never show up on, or does it take too long? Or
I would say if your desktop is connected to Wi-Fi or internet, and then your tablet is also connected to the internet, within about 30 seconds to 2 minutes, that photo is going to automatically show up on your iPad.
It should be there.
Yep.
Okay.
Yep, because everything syncs back and forth. So it might take 30 seconds or a minute for your iPad to sync and download the photo, but as soon as you open that report, within roughly about a minute or two, you should have that photo there.
Okay. Appreciate it.
Yeah, not a problem, guys. Well, thanks for joining in, and feel free to hit me up if you guys come up with any other questions, and I'll follow up on the ones that we need some help with.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
All right, guys. Have a great day.
You too. Chris. Bye.
Bye-bye.